Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to our Strategic Command World War I Let's Play series. It is July of 1916 in this new turn-based strategy and war game that is developed by Fury Software and published by Matrix and Slytherin Games. In this episode, we're going to be continuing our offensive on the Western Front. My hope is that I have broken the Allied powers in the Western Front. We have a huge surplus of manpower that's coming west. Now, one thing we have noticed as we've kind of broken out of the trenches is that the Allied counterattacks, and especially their artillery, are incredibly devastating to undug-in troops. And that's something that we have to be careful about. Because they could easily chew into our manpower. But my hope is that we can slowly grind the Western allies down and take Paris before the winter comes. So ideally by around September or October, I'm hoping we can take Paris and wrap this war up. The Americans have started switching their diplomacy over to the Allied powers. I think that's a little bit silly, given the Allies unprovokedly, that's not a word, is it? Attacked the Belgians and the Dutch, but nonetheless, they probably will come in, and I'm guessing some point in 1917 on the side of the Allies. Meanwhile, we're reconstituting the German fleet after the destruction of the Russian Empire and the destruction of the Russian fleet. We are repairing and sort of bringing our fleet back up to scratch, and we may make an effort to clear Allied warships on the blockade line in the northern blockade. The British still have a stronger fleet than us, pretty considerably stronger, I believe. They have 33 ships, I guess not considerably stronger to our 32 in the German Navy. The French have 14 ships, the Italians 6. So all told, that's about 53 Allied warships to our 43. So outnumbered, but perhaps if we concentrate in the right spots, we might be able to overwhelm them. I think the Allies are pretty heavily concentrated in the Mediterranean. I've seen British battlecruisers sailing around there. I think a large number of the British ships are also destroyers that are useful for anti-submarine warfare patrols. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Meanwhile, in the Ottoman Empire, the British did land troops in Greece, and those were surrounded and killed at Kavala, and they still have an airborne unit there that we're hopefully going to round up here soon. I don't know if they have more troops that might land and drive on Constantinople or not. If they do, I think we can crush them pretty quickly with all the reserves we still have toward the Eastern Front, which we have yet to shift everything to the west. So that's the situation right now. We're in July. We're about to end our turn, so let's go ahead and see what the AI does for us here as we move further along. Genoese territorial militia is mobilized. Foreign Minister reports success. USA shifts 8% to the Central Powers, so maybe that'll delay their entry into the war a bit. Also success in Romania, switching at 6% to the Central Powers. Romania has not yet entered the war. One of our destroyers runs into some rough seas. They're continuing to blockade us in the North Sea. U.S. poet Alan Seeger is killed in action while serving with the French Foreign Legion. You idiot. Oliver Hardy stars in Day at School. Okay. Germany develops fighters, level 1. Anti-submarine warfare technology development. Germany's economy is 671 MPPs. We need to get the Allies off those Norwegian convoys. The Austrians' income is now 301, and the Ottomans 179. Genoa just means that our troops are approaching Genoa, and so Italy has raised some militia there. The Earl of Cavan's deployment in Italy boosts Italian morale, so I guess the British must be sending reinforcements to Italy? Might be some sort of event. Seas are even rougher when someone seeds them with mines. Yeah, that's probably true. I just heard a vehicle. I'm wondering if the enemy has any tanks. Meanwhile, the British are falling back in the Sinai. We'll see if that's permanent, but we do have troops that are threatening some of their holdings in the west. We've had some rebellions in Italian North Africa, so perhaps that will help us out a bit there. You can see these troops here are near Alexandria, and they're driving on Port Said, and that has caused at least a few other units to pull out of the front lines in the Sinai, which could open things up for our German soldiers in the area to drive west toward El Arisha, and then hopefully west across the Suez Canal and into Egypt proper, so that we can take Cairo, Port Said, Alexandria. We don't have the strength there to take Egypt with just the rebels in the west. Meanwhile, French artillery is pounding Austro-Hungarian troops here in Italy, inflicting very grievous casualties on our troops near Brescia. That corps will probably get destroyed. That's my example of the Allied artillery being absolutely devastating. We've seen that they have level 2 artillery, so that is going to be a big hurdle for us to overcome, I think. Meanwhile, the Allies continue to attack in Iraq, not making a ton of progress there, but they are inflicting casualties on us. Italian detachments are attacking out of Mersa Maruth into the toward El Alamein, so we've got an early battle of El Alamein. Meanwhile, troops and artillery are shifting around on the Italian front. I'm waiting to see a mass of infantry to close the lines, to close the gaps, but so far we haven't seen much of any. The Bulgarian troops in Greece should probably be reinforced before being pulled out to other theaters. We should leave a couple of detachments down there just to ensure that Egyptian fighters suffer attrition. That was a pretty uneventful turn, actually, but just to ensure the British don't land troops in our rear again. J Street, thanks for the bits. Haven't seen you around in a while. French morale falls below 25%. Yeesh. All right, with the fall of French morale below 20%, that's going to be pretty... All right, so we know there's a dreadnought in the North Sea there on the distant blockade line. We're going to wait one more turn to send our fleet out until we've got the rest of our troops reinforced. The good thing is this corps here of Austro-Hungarians didn't get destroyed, so we can pull them back. You know, all these troops, we've got really heavy casualties here. I think Venice is an area we want to take. Can't do both? What are you uploading, J Street? Do you have a channel that somehow I've missed? All right, let's move south toward Padua. We'll attack east with these troops. Inflict some casualties there. I'll do 2 and 2. We'll take those casualties, but that's fine. Okay, pull these guys back north. All right, so we should be able to take Padua, or however you pronounce that. All right, so we'll pull... What do we want to put in there, I guess? So we can put these Austro-Hungarian troops in there. Then they can advance south toward Venice to cut Venice off. These troops will move in. Pull these troops back. We'll reinforce these German troops that are now on the front line. We'll dig these troops in facing southwest. And so we've now taken another national morale objective in Italy. And we have Venice surrounded. Now, admittedly, Venice does have naval supply, and it is a supply city. So I have to see if there's any enemy ships around here. Just subs. Best I can tell. Alright, there's a... What is this? A British battle cruiser in this harbor. Interesting. So actually what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go ahead and lay some... Do I not have mines? Can cruisers not lay mines? Can only destroyers lay mines? Huh. I would have liked to lay mines along its path. But I guess that's not doable. I don't really want to expose my battle fleet to getting attacked by the enemy, if I don't have to. These guys can use reinforcements to get them up to max strength for when we continue the drive west. These troops also need reinforcements, so we'll have a couple of reinforced units here, a couple of full strength or near full strength units, a couple of units that'll need to reinforce next turn. In any event, we took one national morale center, we have another one surrounded. All right, so that's the Italian front for now. We'll worry about reinforcements later. Let's go to the Egyptian front. So you can see we have... We're holding the line against Italian detachments of troops attacking east. Our raiders are taking Mursa Matruth. So now that we have these partisans in the rear here, I imagine these two detachments of Italian soldiers will have no supply next turn. J Street, thanks for the bits again, man. All right, so we now have partisans on both sides of these Italian detachments. So hopefully we can continue to hold the line at El Alamein. GPG09, thanks for the follow. I don't know, like, if supply matters for partisans or not. But you can see here we're getting a little bit of intelligence on the enemy troops to our front. Let's advance these guys. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we've advanced these guys. We're going to go ahead and build fortifications here to ensure there's no counterattack. Meanwhile, these German troops and these Ottoman troops are going to advance so that we can attack these British troops who are now cut off at Nikhil. Pull these troops up to Gaza. Nice. All right, so we destroyed the enemy troops at Nikhil. That's a good result for us there. All right, so we destroyed a British corps near Nikhil. We won't be able to take the port or the city itself, but we should be able to take it next turn. Meanwhile, our German headquarters is down here. I don't know why we would actually send it to... We probably shouldn't send it anywhere, because our German troops are actually advancing in the Sinai, so we'll move that headquarters over there. We also have a second German headquarters unit, which can move toward Iraq. All right, these guys are going to move here to continue the garrison work. Meanwhile, we're going to continue shifting troops south from Anatolia, as well as a headquarter unit trailing in behind them. I don't think there's any partisans to worry about in Turkey, so that's good. Meanwhile, our defenses here are still continuing to hold tenaciously to their positions. We have this cavalry here that can swing out wide, potentially in behind the enemy to cut their supply. And then we'll attack that enemy artillery. So our horsemen have swung in around the enemy flank. And we're now going on the offensive here. Meanwhile, we're bringing up fresh troops all along the front, bringing up reserves, hopefully swinging in around. My thought here is one, swinging around the enemy flank. Yes, the supply situation is going to be bad, but it's also going to hurt the enemy supply situation here. It may prevent any further attacks up the road toward Najif. We can actually bomb... Sorry. Bomb the enemy. I should have bombed him before I attacked him with troops. But we may also prevent any attacks further along this line by swinging in the cavalry and around their flank. Meanwhile, I'm wondering if we can... Well, let's wait here. Let's finish off this British aircraft here along the Greek coast. I think we're going to go ahead and... These guys to Salonika. These guys need to get along a rail line so we can operate them. The troops in Iraq cannot be force-marched. I'm thinking they're probably too tired or something to that effect. Alright, we know they're bad guys. Apparently not. So I don't know where the partisans... Oh, I think we destroyed all the partisans last turn, didn't we? Alright, so the Austrians have now successfully retaken Hail. So we've crushed the Arab uprising. We do need to send some reinforcements, I think, along the rail line. Well, let's see here. So we can do that. We can rail these troops south. Okay, so we can get them here. So we need to move these guys over here to relieve these Ottoman troops. then we can go ahead and rail the troops on Amin. South, where do they need to be? North of Medina, or Medina. 1 hex there. That'll prevent rebellions on both flanks. These troops will pull back. And then we're going to bring this next turn, we're going to move this detachment toward Hale. And that'll hopefully get them what they need there. All right, move them here. All right, let's reinforce these Ottoman troops. Okay, so the Egyptian front is going reasonably well, I think. I would imagine taking Cairo, Alexandria, Port Said, Suez would all have a crippling blow on British national morale. Could be worse, could be war in the Pacific from like a complexity perspective. Hey man, I like war in the Pacific. I need to get back to that series with XTRG. I've just been a little bit preoccupied. All right, let's go ahead and reinforce these Bulgarian troops. Those guys are going to lose a lot of experience. They're still a 1-star unit, though. So that's nice. We didn't lose all the experience we gained. I'm going to move this unit to garrison one of these cities here. We'll leave one unit at Corfu as well. The diplomacy screen has Romania at 18% for the Central Powers, so that's good to see. The United States has dropped. They were at 12. We reduced them by 6, and they must have gone up by 3. But hopefully any investments we have in diplomacy with the U.S. will at least delay their entry into the war until it's too late. Okay, we're moving these guys into those different cities. Probably want to move this Brunic down to Trento as well. But that does it for the Egyptian front and for the Italian front. So now let's see what we're going to do here in France. First things first, maybe we need to... Let's try and take Toul. This is a secondary supply city. These guys are dug into level 8. This is a fortification. It was the sort of one of the more southern fortifications. Northern-southern. It's the center fortification. They had a fortification line near the German border. It was Verdun, Toul, Belfort, and Epnel. We took Epnel. Toul is the other sort of center fort. So we're going to go ahead and work on bringing that down. I probably should actually first scout these guys out. So we'll go ahead and send our... I already wasted a lot of my artillery, but in any event, we'll send these blimps out. Interesting. I don't know if they hurt their supply or what. We'll go ahead and recon here, I guess. I guess we didn't get recon. That's weird. I have another fighter around here, don't I? Where the hell? Oh, over here. Alright, so we now have recon there. I have 2 artillery shells left. So I can at least work on that. These guns can't fire far enough. But we've reduced their morale and readiness low enough that we can pretty much overrun them. So we're going to go ahead and attack here, 1 to 5. Attack here, 0 to 4. Attack there and destroy them. So Toul is ours. We'll advance and take the city. Again, remember that is a national morale objective, so that's a good thing to take. We have... Alright, so we've also cut the supply, or not the supply, I guess. I guess the morale at Belfort's just so low that we should be able to overrun it with ease. Belfort is another national morale center. Okay. So we're advancing here in the south. I'm not going to advance with these guys. They're too worn out, I think. Although, let's move these guys forward to Nancy for supply. These troops at Epnel need to reinforce to max. I think we'll reinforce these guys too. All right, so we've kind of broken through in the south, it feels like. I could attack again toward this objective, but I'd rather not. All right, let's see what we can do in the north. So the enemy's a little bit better prepared up here. We can attack toward Reims, though, with relatively good odds. So we'll go ahead and attack there. We took Reims. We'll advance out of Reims. Go ahead and switch our entrenchments. Advance here and knock out this enemy artillery, or badly batter it. Oh, nice. Looks like we can actually destroy it. Got it. Pull back there. Pull back behind their defensive lines. Meanwhile, the troops at Lille are dug in level 7. We've got 2 artillery pieces there. I think we'll wait and let them reinforce. I guess we can move our train forward here. Our armored train. Meanwhile, we'll reinforce the troops along the front that we can. I don't know why those guys can't. Alright, let's advance these troops here. They can't entrench, though. These troops with level 1 can move here. Again, they can't entrench. They've moved too far, I guess. I guess those troops can advance. We'll leave this artillery near adjacent to Lille. We'll also move this artillery up, so we're going to pound Lille and take that city next turn. Meanwhile, we're going to swing in our fresh reinforcements. We'll reinforce the troops that we can. Get them back up to full strength. Oh yeah, I forgot we raised Belgian troops. Should probably upgrade their weapons. So move these Dutch troops down here. We'll probably rail in some troops in the south as well. Troops at Rotterdam need reinforcements. Right, let's attack here to the west of, I guess, along the English Channel. Do that. Move those troops in fresh, entrench them facing west to prevent counterattacks. So we've got a couple of units that are a little bit exposed to counterattack. Reinforce these Dutch troops here. Okay. So overall, I think things are going pretty well. I'm actually going to move this headquarters unit south in an effort to get more artillery on this unit, this French unit here. Then I'm going to rail in some additional reinforcements from the west. We're going to rail in the elite troops. Actually, I wouldn't mind these guys in Italy. Elite reinforcements. Oh, no, I didn't save enough money to rail any troops anywhere, did I? Oh, no, I still do. Alright, we'll send these troops. The north is the only place I can get really close to the front. I think I can rail one more. Actually, maybe... No, just one more. And maybe a smaller unit. So we're going to rail these guys here to the western mountains. And then we can rail a detachment. Where do we want to rail a detachment? Probably south near Pristana, because we want to move these aircraft to the western front. Move the headquarters into Liege. That'll help with supply more in a city. Meanwhile, the Austro-Hungarian forces, some of these guys still need to upgrade, but let's go ahead and get some of these troops to the front lines. In Italy, we got another headquarters unit. Well, we've already got two. Feels like we've got quite a few headquarters units over there. We have a few Austrian troops in the western front. That'll probably grow, so we'll get one over there as well. Go ahead and operate these guys. To the western front. And then I would like some more detachments of troops. Of like garrisons. Probably need one more down here, so we'll send this guy over here. I don't know. Like, I've got more troops than I know what to do with, honestly. That's kind of the struggle right now. I guess we probably... I don't even have any artillery in the Italian front, so it's kind of... Seems a little bit silly sending... troops that way. Or air that way. Naval invasion of Italy, that feels a little bit risky for no real purpose, to be honest. I guess one thing we could do is research... Are we researching naval warfare for the... We are. We'll bump that up a little bit more for Austria-Hungary. The Ottomans are already researching it pretty heavily as well. Probably should research logistics. So we just spent all the all the Ottoman money on R&D. Do we have anything that's 40? We can bump fighter development up a little bit. And there you go. We spent all our money. I didn't even spend any money on reinforcing the fleet. One thing we could do is let's send our subs out just to get a read on where the enemy might be. Okay. I think I just ran over my own mines. Yep, ran over my own mines. Good job, Skipper. Alright, so we've sent scouts out into the North Sea. We've detected nothing from the enemy fleet, so we're going to send our own warships out. We're going to send our destroyers out front. I hope to engage a portion of the enemy fleet. But we're going to send these guys out to sea. Hopefully they don't notice. Again, it's not the entire fleet. We still have a big chunk of the fleet that's not ready for sea. But it's a lot of our heavy stuff, a lot of our armored cruisers, a lot of our battleships. We have a couple that still aren't ready. But I'm also not necessarily engaging this turn either. So we've got a big screen of submarines around the fleet as we send another big portion of it out. We do have some ships left guarding the channel approaches in the event the enemy detects us. I'm not sure they will detect that we're out quite yet. Meanwhile, this pre-dreadnought should probably hurry on along. It's good enough. Level 9? I think so. Should probably send the level 9 sub out, too. I can't, like, max speed it, though, for whatever reason. And the Moltke, the battle cruiser, level 9. We should send that out as well. 9 or better. That's the plan. All right, so that's going to do it for July. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here. It's the end of July of 1916. The war continues to go well as the German forces continue to ever aggressively push westward in France, continues to keep the pressure up in Italy, in the Middle East, and really it's all about just maintaining our defensive line in Iraq. So we'll see how things play out in the future, until episode 24. This is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you for watching, and as always, until next time, I'm out.